my name is Marla Phillips, Director of Xavier Health at Xavier University. So what do they think? That's a question I often hear. What do regulators think about artificial intelligence? So let's take a look at how FDA is supporting AI innovation. So first, I'd like to invite you to hear directly from the FDA at Xavier University. We have a summit every August, so please join us at the summit to hear directly from FDA on what they're thinking and what they're doing. So some examples of CDRH support. And so CDRH is the Center for Devices and Radiological Health. Before I even get into this, one thing I'll point out is that on the medical device side of our industry, artificial intelligence can be part of the product. So it can be software that is being used to operate the device, or it can be software that is in and of itself a medical device. Whereas on the pharmaceutical side, typically artificial intelligence is used to run the process, but it's not in the product. Otherwise, it would at least be a combination product, but not just a strict pharmaceutical. So from Center of Devices and Radiological Health, what I'm finding is that they're probably further along the path because they started getting applications from companies with artificial intelligence in the product, and they wanted to get approval for going on the market. So FDA on the device side had to hurry up and figure out what are some of the key aspects we need to understand about artificial intelligence to make sure at the end of the day that the product is safe and effective and will operate in the way that it's intended. So they've been moving forward on this pretty rapidly and along with global regulators. So Bakul Patel, who is a member of the Xavier Artificial Intelligence Core Team, worked on a paper along with colleagues that was published in April of 2019, where they were seeking comments for discussion that just recently closed on June 3rd. But the paper was on proposed regulatory framework for modifications to artificial intelligence, machine learning-based software as a medical device. And so with that, a quote that you see down at the bottom is, this potential regulatory framework allows the FDA's regulatory oversight to embrace the iterative improvement power of artificial intelligence and machine learning-based software as a medical device, while, of course, assuring patient safety. So as you can see here, FDA is saying, no, you can't put that on the market. We don't quite understand it yet, so it can't go. They're recognizing that there's innovation that patients need, and they need it today. So they're working with industry. They've had town hall meetings. They've had working group sessions trying to get input from industry. They've met with the high-tech industries to find out what's key in making sure that artificial intelligence programs are trustworthy. So you can't really use the word validation in this space because you validate that something never changes. And of course, with machine learning, it's constantly learning. So the FDA has really taken a charge on working with industry to advance their understanding so that they can be supportive of this innovation and ultimately for the patients that your products would serve. On the drug side, we have CDER, which stands for the Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. They also are very supportive of innovation. They recently created an emerging technology team that meets with industry proactively to understand what innovation are you coming forward with in your applications so that when I first receive it, it's not the first time I'm seeing this. Because any one of us, if you were faced with something you've never seen before, it's going to take a little bit of time for you to understand it. So imagine an FDA, they have to understand it so then they can even figure out if it's approvable. So they're working with industry through the emerging technology team under CDER to proactively have meetings to address whether it's product technology, manufacturing processes, control strategies, just trying to figure out how they can preempt questions that might come if they haven't been exposed to this before. So working very collaboratively with industry to support its use on the pharmaceutical side. So as you can see, both CDER and CDRH are taking very proactive approaches, and in many cases, they're actually leading the discussions and reaching out to industry saying, hey, come and talk with us. So they're very open to these discussions, recognizing that the speed of innovation is just fantastic, as well as the power that it could have for the patients you are trying to serve. So they're also joining initiatives and working teams such as the Xavier Artificial Intelligence Initiative, where we have regulators and industry working together to look at very complicated questions like, how do you build in trust for artificial intelligence if we can't validate a system that's continuously learning? How do you evaluate it? So that's just one of the questions. So again, I would encourage you to join us at Xavier to hear directly from the regulators, and then also join those virtual teams that work throughout the year. So one of the things that we were looking at in these working teams is, if you imagine the power of artificial intelligence, where it could continuously assess your documents, so using natural language processing or through the data analysis, where today in quality assurance, we're looking at things after the fact or on a periodic basis and a statistical sampling of it. But if you use AI, it can become predictive, continuously scanning everything you've got. So there's no holes, there's no gaps, there's no blind spots. And so you could scan all of your documents constantly to identify trends that you didn't even know existed and identify signals that predict impact to product quality. So when we were exploring this through the Xavier Artificial Intelligence working teams, we had ORA. So I talked about CDRH and Cedar. ORA is the Office of Regulatory Affairs, which houses all of the investigators in the country. So Art Shabanik is over a portion of the country through Program Division 3. And it basically expressed, this is it. This is the future of quality. This is exactly what we all would have hoped for, that we can always look at everything instead of I have to take maybe less than a fraction of a % of the documents that are there and see if I can see any trends. Cisco Vicente is on CDRH and is building the case for quality with industry, looking at how can we increase our maturity of how we assess quality, not how can we comply. So all of the regulators within FDA, so all of the divisions, Cedar, CDRH, ORA, are working with industry and recognize the power and the potential that this has. So again, I invite you to hear directly from the FDA at Xavier at the summit every August, and maybe even join the working teams if you're interested, where you can have discussions and help forward the entire industry together.